Well, Bob, we'll hear his story. Came to Baba back in the 60s while Baba was still on Earth, and through someone who was trying to see Baba, got all the way, I think, as far as Adi's office, but didn't quite make it, but came directly with Baba's blessing right back, and that's how he. Well, I won't go into it, but he writes poetry. He's, over the years and been part of the Denver group for practically an eternity.
Well, that sounds like a good introduction. Bob is very much part of our Baba Zoom community. He's active in it, and we're going to turn it over to Bob Jaeger right now.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Jay, Baba, these evening Zooms have just such a sustaining way for me to wind up my days. It's just I just join in as often as I can. I miss them now and again, but thank you all for the support and the love you share. It's just been wonderful to join in. I've made some notes so that I don't wander too far off the track. So I'll refer to them probably very often. But I think it was 1964, maybe 1965. I had a dear childhood friend. He was a year older than I. His name was John Hobson, and we started going to the Sign of the Troll Coffee House down in Denver. It was the coffee house days, and this was quite a place. There was the guy that ran the place is named Doug Anderson. Now, Doug had gone to South High School with Rick Chapman. They were good pals in high school. So that was sort of the beginning of my contact. In 1966, Doug and his wife Mabel and my friend John, by then known as JJ, went to India to find Rick Chapman and maybe be able to see Meher Baba. I don't remember if I had heard of Baba before they went. I think they asked me if I wanted to join them on this trip. They got jobs on a Norwegian oil tanker out of Veracruz, Mexico, made it to Calcutta, and then went across India to, it was quite a trip. Well, I did not join them on that. But they returned in 1967. My friend JJ had been drafted, had to make his way back to the States, and he brought me a copy of the Everything and the Nothing, a copy that I still have. I read that book, and I don't remember much about what I thought at the time, but I do recall that my mind was somehow satisfied. I had quit going to church by then and was just kind of stumbling around trying to figure things out. And I was raised in a Lutheran household, and my parents were lovely folks, but they made my brother and I go to church every Sunday, but they didn't really force any religion on us at all. It was just kind of, this is what you do on Sunday, and the rest is kind of, well, good luck, I guess. I don't know. But after reading that book, somehow lots of questions that I didn't even know I had were answered. That's the feeling that I had. And then I had, of course, graduated from high school and was trying to figure out what to do, and going to college kind of off and on, saving some money. And I finally moved out of my parents' house into a house where most of the folks were Baba lovers. People called it a commune, but it wasn't really. It was just a house full of people who were wandering around trying to figure out what they were supposed to be doing. And we all, most of them, as I say, were Baba lovers. Among them were JJ, Doug and Mabel, Winnie Barrett, who most of you know. She lives in Asheville now. Phil Norman, Nancy Bohm, lots of other folks. We had Baba meetings every week, and I began to meet lots of other Baba lovers around the Denver and Boulder area. Rich Sander and Judy Shack also lived in Denver at that time. So, they would join the meetings. We had large meetings. It was just a great time. Well, when Meher Baba dropped his body in 1969, I had already known about him for a couple of years and just loved the Baba meetings and really sort of felt myself to be a Baba lover. I didn't really know what that meant or what it would lead to, but when Baba dropped his body, I did not know what to think. It sort of left me like, oh, really? Well, okay. I mean, I guess I always figured I'd get to India sometime and Baba would still be there. So I was surprised, but I don't remember feeling particularly upset. My friend Winnie Barrett and others made preparations to go to India for the last darshan. That seemed completely impossible to me. And anyway, I didn't even really feel drawn to try to go. I mean, now of course, I'm tempted to look back and berate myself as a fool for not just dropping everything, borrowing the whatever I could and just going. But it wasn't in the cards for me at the time. Baba is the dealer. And in 1969, India was not in the cards for me. I know that Baba was drawing me in, but as I recall, mostly it seemed that I was going on with my life, drifting here and there, trying not too hard to destroy myself and trying to figure out what I was supposed to do. I took a Greyhound bus for my first visit to the Meher Center in Myrtle Beach in the summer of 1972. It was a great bus ride, got to Myrtle Beach, rode that bus through lots of country I'd never seen before, and arrived at the old gateway late in the afternoon. They put me in the cabin on the hill. I met Fred and Ella, Kitty and Elizabeth, lots of other folks, and hung out in Baba's house in the beach, sat in the barn for hours, spent hours reading, walking trails, sitting in the lagoon cabin, hanging out in the old kitchen with other visitors. I'd never been in such a wonderful, peaceful, love-filled place. It was just so wonderful to be there on that first trip. In the fall of 72, I started my first year teaching fourth grade in Littleton, Colorado, in the South Metro Denver area. And the next summer, 1973, I took my second trip to Myrtle Beach in the VW Bug I had bought when I started teaching. And then, we'll skip forward a few years, I took my first trip to India in 1976. In the summer vacation. I saved up my money and it was finally time to go. As construction had only just begun on the old Pilgrim Center, I stayed at Vilu Villa. Vilu was wonderfully feisty and warm, and I had a great time with the other Baba lovers who stayed at her house. I have a photograph that I took of everybody who was staying at Vilu Villa, sitting around a table in her house, drinking Indian beer one evening. Among them was Marshall Hay. But he's the only person that I recognize in that photograph. I don't remember who any of the other ones were. I'll have to send that one to you, Jeff, and I'll bet you recognize a lot of these other folks. It'd be nice to know. So that was, I was there, as I recall, I was there for 3 or 4 weeks in July and into the beginning of August. And my time in India was just filled with joy. I really did feel that I'd come home. After all my sort of wandering and lots of, the ups and downs of life and trying to figure out where I'd fit in, because it had been sort of the only place I ever really felt like I fit was the coffee house, back in the day. And our Baba meetings, and which is not to say I was just a complete, left out guy, because that wasn't it at all. But gosh, India just felt like home. I took 500 slides, a number of which show the old Pilgrim Center and the foundations of the Pilgrim Center just being laid, as well as many lovely photos of the Mandali. And I wandered through Erringown and Pimplegown, meeting local people, and was absolutely astonished at their openness and friendliness. I, of course, listened to Erich and Mani in Mandalay Hall, and met Mansari and Mehra and many others, climbed Seclusion Hill with Erich, spent many hours in the Samadhi. Then you could just go in and sit. You could even sit up on the side by the windows, by the tomb. It was just incredible. Well, I guess on my last day at Mehrabad, I walked up the hill to the Samadhi to say goodbye. I laid my head on that cool stone at Baba's feet for a long time, and then I just sat. I had never felt more at home than I did in these fleeting few weeks. So this is where I fit. This is home. I didn't want to go, but I knew I had to. As I left the tomb, Nana Care hugged me, and out of nowhere, taking me completely by surprise, I just broke into tears. I sobbed. I just couldn't control it. Well, Nana held me until I did stop. Made it back to Bombay, got on the plane, got off the plane in the airport at New York, and I must say that arriving back in New York is the only time on that trip that I experienced anything that I would call culture shock. The whole trip in India was nothing like that. It was just amazing. Well, I'll skip ahead a few more years. Baba meetings continued. I had been divorced and was thinking, all right, that's enough. I've had enough of this marriage business. I've got my sons, I've got my job, I'm teaching. I'm just that. All right, Baba. And then I met Geraldine, who went by Jerry, who also had 2 kids. And she too had just given up on being married. She had been divorced also. And Baba put us together, and we got married and enjoyed just an incredible 28 years together. She passed a couple of years ago. But sometime, I think it was probably in 2002, Jerry and I drove to Western Colorado to visit a dear old friend for a few days who was living there. And on that trip, we were staying in the guest room, and I had a long and vivid dream that the details of it, I'm still not quite sure what they were all about. How most, at least in my experience, most dreams are somehow sort of closed in. There's a darkness that surrounds dreaming, at least my dreaming. No matter what's going on, it seems to be kind of cut off, closeted, happening in some sort of twilight almost. This dream was just brightly lit, and it was happening sort of on some plaza that seemed to be overlooking a city or a town or some other place, I saw someone there who I didn't trust, and I followed them down into this place like a subway, and then we had this interaction, and then I came back up and back to this brightly lit plaza, and the way I remembered it over the years is that Meher Baba I was standing before Meher Baba. Meher Baba was standing, I was standing. And I noticed this wave approaching behind Baba. And just before the wave broke over the both of us, I noticed that it was a wave not of water, but of wrapped candy. Prasad, I guess. This was my prasad. So I woke up. I woke up experiencing a joy like I have never experienced before in my life and never have again since. It was as close to what was it? As close as I can possibly get to maybe just a little tiny bit of of what bliss must be. I mean, it's impossible to describe. I grabbed Jerry's hand and put it to my chest and said, it's all here. It's all right here. Everything is a gift, because that was the message that came to me as the wave broke. Everything is a gift. So I told her the dream and assured her that I hadn't lost my mind. And she went back to sleep, and I went out to the living room and sat on the couch and repeated Baba's name. I mean, this joy, this happiness, this overwhelming joy just was coursing through me. And I was repeating Baba's name, and it must have been, I don't know, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't even know, but it was still dark. And every time some thought occurred, some thought or some worry or some plan or anything, it was just like thrown off like a drops from a whirling top. Just, it was all, nothing else mattered but this incredible joy and Baba's name, and that begun to fade, but it lasted, as I recall, or at least some little bit of it, 2 or 3 weeks, and then finally dove deep inside. And so later on, at our Rocky Mountain Sahavas at Camp La Forêt, I had another very brief dream. We had these every year in a couple of different places, and we'd have a musical guest and a speaking guest. Ward Parks has been with us, and just lots of folks. They were lovely. Jeff and Nan were with us once, and at Camp La Forêt, as I recall. And so it was at one of those at Camp La Forêt, down near the Air Force Academy. I had another very brief dream, a very different one, in which Baba passed by the place where I was sitting. Well, all right, I'll be honest about this. In the dream, I was sitting on the toilet in the men's room at Camp La Forêt, but the door was open, and Baba passed by and gave me this stern look, pointed at me, and just pinned me to the wall. I woke up. I thought, what is this? This one was a little daunting, and I had no idea what to make of it until on a trip to Myrtle Beach in April 2011, I learned that Bill LePage had had a similar dream, and the clear meaning he got was, "You are mine." And I thought, all right, I'll take that. I'll try to be that, become that. Now, I have to backtrack a little bit here, because memory is a very funny thing. And I must include an addendum to that first dream. I don't know, 6 or 8 months ago, I was going through some old stuff, and I found some notes that I had written down where I kind of described that first dream, where I was on that plaza above that place. And the dream, as I described it in my notes, was that I came back up after this confrontation with these people, and I was in a crowd, and everybody had their and I had my hands up, looking up into the sky, and the prasad fell out of the sky. And that's when I woke up. Now, I did not consciously change my memory of that dream. I did not do that. So why did my memory change? I mean, that had to have been Baba too. I mean, what can I say? Who else could have dumped prasad and given that much prasad and given me the message, everything is a gift, and created that much incredible joy, but beloved Meher Baba? No one else, no one but him could have done that. Well, what to make of all this? Life and meaning continue to grow and deepen, and trying to stop the worrying and the nonsense and the looking at results and all the rest of it. And I try to remember that message that it's all a gift, everything, the good and the bad, the joy, the pain, the struggle, all the rest, all gifts to remind me that it is and has been all Baba all the time. Baba, despite the drifting and the confusion, the feelings of not belonging, not quite fitting, the feelings of unworthiness. There was no drifting at all, just life's river flowing to him, always with his help. So I'd like to I'd like to finish up with a short piece from Whistling Past the Tavern that describes an event that occurred during my 1976 trip to India when I was staying at Vilu Villa. It's titled "A Moonless Indian Night," and it's not a poem. It's just a long paragraph describing what happened. One night late at Vilu Villa, sleepless, I crept through the quiet house, out the front door, across the courtyard, and down the road into darkness. I sat on a low wall in that starry vastness and watched as water buffalo and carts with swaying lanterns and people passed, walking and riding, coming, going. They stared at me. And under the moonless sky, unfettered by street lights in that timeless space, a place so alien, I neither belonged nor did not belong. Mind finally pushed forth a trickle of nervousness, and I went back down the road into bed and to sleep. For years, I thought it all simply a strange whim on my part, but I know, Baba, you gave me that moonless Indian night, and ever since have planted me here and there and in this now, where some current of not belonging persists and often surges up a want of not wanting to belong to any place, but only to you, beloved Lord. So, what can I say? It's all been somehow up to him with his help. And now his name is the golden hammer in my meager kit of tools for fools. So hoping to be his however and wherever he wishes. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And if I don't, Jay Maher, Baba.
Beautiful.
I mean, if I've left a lot out, of course, but I didn't. That's the crux of it. And so thank you all for listening. And if anybody has any questions or comments, I'd be happy to listen or to respond.
Yeah. Let me ponder here. Am I audible here?
Yeah.
It's wonderful that you have like that deep acceptance of knowing that it's all really being done by Baba. at even though moment to moment you may not know that, but overall you kind of know that.
Yeah, it's something that I'm sure we all try to remember, but the mind, foolish mind takes over and just starts worrying about this and that. And, oh, did I do the right thing? Oh, did I say, how did they, what's going to happen if I do this or do that? It's like, oh God, just stop.
There was, when I was in India in 1971 and 72, there was an old disciple of Baba's called Chuggan Master. And he had been with Baba since the very beginning, back in the early 20s. And somehow he Baba kind of expressed he wanted him to stay single and everything, but I guess his marriage had been arranged, and Baba had kind of said that he got off the spiritual line, but he somehow he was with Baba his whole life, but he never quite felt that he had done, lived his life as Baba would have wanted, really had the confidence of that. But this is what I heard from Gil Alvarado, who was there at his deathbed when he was passing on. And now, this is as I remember it. And just as he was passing on, he realized in that moment that he had done everything Baba had wanted him to do.
Oh, my word. Oh, great.
Didn't get it till the last moment. And he had lived the life that Baba had wanted him to live. And he was in bliss before he departed. So that's the beautiful thing.
It sure is. Yeah.
Does anyone else have questions or comments or things? That was so well prepared and just a beautiful history of your time with Baba and your devotion to Baba and Baba's devotion to you. Anybody else?
Just to say, so understated and so deeply touching at the same time. Thank you so much, Bob.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you all. I just, telling these things, it's I'm really glad this happened tonight. I thought it was going to be on Monday. I probably wrote it incorrectly on my calendar. And then I prepared my notes and I went over them again and I said, oh, look, Baba, let me just look. I don't know what to say. Just let me say what you wish me to say. I don't want to make anything up. I don't want to, this doesn't need to be about me as much as it is about somehow you doing what you did. And so I'm glad it happened tonight because it came as a sort of surprise and I didn't have to worry about it. It's just, here we are. So, so thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bob, a quick question. How old were you when you went to Mehrabad in 76?
Pardon me?
How old were you when you went to Mehrabad in 1976?
1976. I was almost 30 years old.
Okay.
I was born in 1946 in August. So I was almost 30. I had been teaching by then for, let's see, I started teaching in 1972. So I'd been teaching for 4 years and could finally get away and go to India. And then I went again in 2003 with some dear friends of mine from the Denver Baba group, most of whom are still around. And then I went again in 2006 with my son, Matt, my older son, Matt, and my friend, Richard Slavic and I still see Richard Slavic all the time. He and his wife, Kitty, live 5 minutes from me. So we still get together. And so I'm hoping to get back to India, at least back to Mehrabad one more time. I'm starting to consider maybe next October, November, something like that. We'll see how it all works out. So.
Wonderful. Great story, that one, and beautiful dreams, actually.
Yeah.
I wish I get those dreams. But thanks again. Wonderful story, Bob. Thank you. Hey, Bob.
Thank you. Thank you.
Josh Wolterding has a question for you there.
Hi, Josh.
Awesome story. Yeah, I was really fascinated with the everything is a gift kind of ideas. And I was wondering if you had any more sort of ideas about how you implemented that in your life or examples or what it's meant to you. Yeah, I just feel like that's a really strong, cool message. And I was hoping if you could expand more on how you interpret that.
I think to me, when I try to figure that out, I refer to, I think it was Mani that told a story about free will. And And it was Manu who said there really isn't any such thing as free will. I can't remember her entire talk about it, but there was also a little story that I think Baba told, or somebody told, that, yeah, you've got free will. I think Baba told it to somebody. You have free will, but it's very restricted. But, you know, like I can tell you to pick up your right foot. Yeah, fine, you did that. All right, now pick up your left one at the same time. No, you can't do that. So it's your free will is really circumscribed by your fate, your karma, your sanskaras, all of the stuff that you must do, that Bob explained to us. You must do it. Well, that said, everything that I experience, everything that I go through in my daily life, whether I consider it good or bad, whether it's joyful or whether it hurts, is somehow necessary for me. It's necessary on whatever path it is that I need to follow to try to love Baba more and more, to remember him more and more, to live my life for him, so that everything that happens to me is a necessity. It's just, it's something that I have to deal with right here in this world, in this body, in this place. And I think and in that sense, it truly is a gift, because everything that I have to go through and everything that I have to experience, I do have some choice about, about how am I going to react to this? Am I going to be pissed? Am I going to do something stupid? Am I going to be shut up for a minute and sort of consider this, or do nothing at all, or just, try to do something that would please Baba, or at least not displease him. So in that sense, everything, every happening, every moment really is his gift to teach, to say, here, do something wise with this, get a little more in touch with your heart, get a little more in touch with me, listen deeper somehow, so that you can really learn from this and do the wisest, most pleasing thing on this path. Does that make any sense?
Beautiful. You might say everything is waking you up, whether you feel like being awakened or not.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the damn thing.
That sure is.
That's recorded. Sorry.
It's okay. Hey, would you switch it back to, I'd like to see everybody. Could you switch it back to, all I can see is me now and a few of you over here on the right. If you could switch it back to the gallery view again, I would appreciate it.
Or do you have the gallery over in the upper right?
I can't, oh, wait a minute. There it is. Yay. Okay, I do. Excellent.
Okay. Now you're one of us.
Yeah.
Join the rectangles.
Oh, gosh.
Have you got another
We'll
poem?
call this a
that you-
Marabad square
Yeah,
instead of a Hollywood square. We'll call it a Marabad square. And
you
yes,
go.
do you have a poem? Yes, Jeff, great suggestion.
I have one that I just wrote a few days ago, and I've fiddled with it a little bit, so this seems I've been wondering when I would share it, and this this feels like the appropriate time. The title of it is To Think or Not to Think, a rant. Thinking about results simply spoils the pulse before it's even cooked. So don't watch the pot, but take what you got, whatever it may be. All expectations stow and go with his flow, not imagined flood. Listen deeper inside and try not to hide from the gift of his love. You must have some poise in the clamorous noise gushing inside and out. You must right now, today, make a change, find a way to give over, give all to him, Oh, Baba, this fish wants to swim where you wish, whether shallow, deep, or aground. But it's always back to the start, as mind grunts and farts in a circle of worry and want. The mind is a jerk. Its schemes never work. It has no place to end as it curves round the bend, and there's nothing left to say but Avatar Mayor Baba Ki Jai.
Beautiful.
Grant.
Hey, what would you say? I mean, and this is kind of personal. What do you say? Would you say you struggled most with in your inner life with Baba, or maybe there might be one or two things that complexes that
Yeah.
you faced and in ways you might have dealt with it.
One of the things that has been most difficult for me over the years is it might come from the fact that I've always been an introvert. So I've in school I was always I never sat in front. You know, I always sat off to the side somewhere where I could sort of observe and then jump in when I felt that I could, you know, have a joke or have, you know, something to say that would disrupt the class or whatever. But I didn't, you know. I never wanted attention drawn to myself much, which seems odd. But even in and that's something that it's just been a part of who I am all these years, even though I was a teacher. But that was a whole different thing. I could do that. I knew how to do that. Baba really helped me do that, and I loved it. I loved reading stories to my students. It was my favorite part of the day, and theirs too, I think. You know, we'd get away from the math and everything. But anyway, that's sort of off the point. So maybe as a result of that, I struggled year after year after year, and still do sometimes, with, you know, just being natural, having a conversation, talking about something, and then I just say something sort of off the cuff, you know, not intending anything, just part of the conversation. And then sometimes an hour later, more than likely at 2 or 3 in the morning, I'd wake up and the mind would start saying, "Oh, you shouldn't have said it that way. What will people think of you? How are they going to take that? Oh, you fool. They're going to think you're an idiot. What are they?" You know, it's like, oh God. Now, I have no idea where that comes from or why. And it's still something that occasionally happens to me. I have no idea why. It's not as bad as it used to be, but it still happens. So I suppose that's a complex. It certainly is a complex thing for me. I've never been able to quite figure out where that comes from or why. And you know, I try to just give that stuff to Baba. Say, look, you know, Baba, I don't know what is this? Look, I lay this at your feet. You know me through and through. You know me much better than I do. You know me much better than any of my friends do. I don't know what this is. It's just. and then I make myself laugh, you know. So which always usually helps a little bit. So.
Tony seems to be having a big reaction. Tony, what have you got to say? You're muted.
Just sharing. I see Jeff is having the same reaction. It's all very familiar. Although the one thought I had, because I do a lot of astrology, are you born in late August?
I am right on the cusp of Leo Virgo, so I have never known who the hell I am.
Well, there's so much Virgo that I'm hearing from you, which I recognize. And so join the very large contingent that we have here in the evening arty.
Yeah.
And the thoughts at night, and the should I have said that? And was it good enough? Maybe I shouldn't have read that poem.
Right, good grief. Why did I even write this?
Oh, this is horrible. They're going to all know how terrible I am now.
Yeah, right.
Wonderful, Bob. Really wonderful.
Well, it really helps to talk about things like that. I mean, I've talked about that particular difficulty with some close friends, but it really helps to talk to all of you dears, in these evenings, because I consider you my close friends now, although I've never met most of you, but it just feels so good to be able to share these things.
May I say something? It's Marion.
Yeah.
Sure.
I had to laugh because I was going to ask you about that type of interaction, with Baba, if you ever have any of those, when you just came up with it. And when you said, where does that come from? So I just wanted to say, I think you borrowed it from me. I know exactly what you mean. And what I learned in my transformational work is when things like that come up, the first step of transformation is observation, not me trying to be different. And so I find that's my best reporting into Baba. Here it is again. It's all yours, because I have no sort of control over it. It just sort of floats up. So it's nice. I'm glad that you shared it, because I really walk with you on that one. Yeah.
Bob, also, I just came across a book by a fellow named Michael Singer called The Untethered Soul.
Beautiful,
Which is so much about something Ken Moore used to always say, quoting Baba, that you have to be a witness to the pranks of the mind.
Yeah.
Witness to the pranks of Maya. And he talks about what we're talking about now in such a helpful way. And I read out loud his entire chapter on let go now or fall. Like when you could get so sunk in those thoughts. And the thing is, let go and your mind lifts to its divine level,
Just to be able to watch them. And Bob is so clear about that, just let them come and go. You don't repress this stuff. That doesn't do any good. Just let it come and go. And it's what's the title of that book?
The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer.
He's one of the greatest benefactors of the center here in Myrtle Beach.
Oh,
wow.
really?
He is.
He's got a Baba feel, and if you look at Mayim, Mayim Bialy, now I forgot her last name, but she has a podcast, and there's one where she interviews him, and he's got such a Baba presence, very natural, very easy and talking about this stuff, and he blew them away, and they're not easily influenced,
Yeah, wonderful.
And it's helping me, it's helping us.
There was one guy that worked at the center here, worked with him for about 7 years, and one of his main things is that it's all within. So Brian, this guy was Brian Bagara. He went kind of sheepishly before him and said, well, he was planning to go to India, to Baba's tomb. And he was a little bit shy about mentioning this to Mickey Singer. And Mickey Singer, he kind of stammered his request out. And Mickey Singer said, well, he's the one looking after all of us. What a beautiful description of Baba. He's the one looking after all of us.
All of us.
Well, what a description of Baba's divinity.
Oh, gosh. Rick.
In such a colloquial way.
Yeah. In fact, I was, I don't know, quite some time ago, I was having a little talk on the phone with Rick Chapman. And he either told me or emailed me that the the translation of the word parvardigar, the one who always cares, which just knocked me
Oh,
out.
wow.
Thought,
Okay.
oh,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
Just one other thing with that chapter 8, let go now or fall. We all know Bob is saying, don't worry, be happy. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm always kind of struggling with it and I'm working with it. Well, it means this. Well, it means that chapter is like, don't worry, be happy. Let go now or fall. It's like it's the corollary.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Sense what Baba was saying there. So
Yeah. Any other, any other complexes that you've had to struggle with and try to bring Baba into it and get some detachment from?
Oh gosh, just especially when I'm feeling distant from Baba and not knowing, should I do this? Should I do that? Is anything at all worth doing at all? Maybe I should just stay in my chair all day long and read or take a nap. Why even get up and do anything? And that leads to a kind of a persistent sense of unworthiness that I've struggled with, I don't know, my entire life. And part of it is remembering hurtful things that I did, even as a kid. You know how the mind brings these things up. It's like, oh, do I really need to remember that? Do I still really, So, and some of the things that I consider, more hurtful, really bring on a feeling of unworthiness that I'll sort of wallow around in for an hour or so, and then finally go for a walk and repeat Baba's name on the walk, and so yeah, that's been a persistent one for a long time. Yeah.
makes
Very
me
common.
wonder what we were thinking when we decided to get born under the sign of Virgo. That's a very typical thing. I recognize it.
Really.
One thing that Baba helped me with, because back in my college days, I did a lot of things that when those memories come back, I cringe.
Yeah.
And this would happen for some years, and then Baba said, "Send my love and name to that memory as it comes up."
Oh, I like that.
And I just kind of did this over the years. Anytime one of these kind of embarrassing memories would come up, I'd send Baba's name and love. And in the process, after many, many years, I completely changed my relationship to the past. Previously, it cast a shadow on my present.
Yeah.
I didn't go in there rooting through the memories. They get triggered in the course of the day anyway. So when they do come up, I would just, take Baba's name and send his love that direction, and took a lot of the power. Because if I cringed, I was only confirming them more in memory.
Well, exactly.
And they get piled upon pile upon pile of being confirmed again and again.
Right.
And then they are really hard to unload. Yeah.
Oh, they're awful. I just
something that I have developed is, since Baba talks about the divine nature is knowledge, power, bliss. That's each of our core. That on the psychological level, as little children, we create a defense to take care of ourselves. We draw from our divine spirit. So those are distorted in what I have the labels of reason, will, and emotion. And we all have all three, but a predominant one. So mine predominant one is emotion. Looking through the lens of emotions as I react to things in life, where someone else will be more reason, they'll get more intellectual, and another one whose distortion is maybe will, they'll be more aggressive. So with that, a lot of my characteristics, one is complaining, but I always kind of kept them in secretly. But now that I know, to get them out and get them out energetically so they aren't imploding in my body. So it's like I have a lot of pleasure in complaining. So, I mean, I even complained to Baba about why I even created creation. Like, do we actually need creation? I mean, come on. And so can't you go in the beyond state and rest and just keep resting? Do you have to do this? So I've turned some things into little stand-up comedy routines. But what I realized, so what I've done, because that's an avenue, it's a gateway for me for transformation, is those characteristics of my dominant defense type, is that I have a to-do list every day. So I have 3 particular times that I schedule in complaint sessions with Baba. And I usually use his ancient one, a photograph, to declare that I'm now going to release what's been stored in my energy field so that I may be filled with his light and love and life. And so then I'm trained in core energetic release. So I just let it rip. And so it helps me not have it going along all day so much.
Right,
I have my 3 predominant complaint sessions. And so it's a delightful time.
Well, about complaining to Baba, Zeke and I, after 9/11, enrolled with an interfaith seminar. We wanted to do something, make a difference. It's like beads on one string. And in the first year, for each path was just studied for a month, and you were to take practice that path and apply it to your own. So when we got to Judaism, the practice that I picked was complaining to God. Was talking to God, getting angry with God, complaining. It kind of Don Stephen, but taking a little bit more emotion, and it was wonderfully satisfying. Baba, I felt really enjoyed it.
Yes, a friend of mine said, "Oh, that's very Jewish." They all think my complaints, and I said, "I'm sure I've had many times, there, but." It really does spark me because it has that boundary with an intention to give everything to Baba.
Yeah. Another thing that I occasionally, I wouldn't call it a complex, but or sort of to get onto a slightly different track, and maybe it's a topic that we could take up another time. But Baba talks so often about doing things wholeheartedly. And I find that, especially if it's in the middle of the day and I haven't really, I try to remember Baba as often as possible throughout my day, because I feel like that's worth doing just because. But as far as really being in touch with Baba in a way that allows me to do anything wholeheartedly, my early mornings are my daily routine is pretty well set, especially my mornings, because I've got my favorite photograph of Baba. I've written poems about this. I sit in my favorite chair. I take whatever Baba book I'm reading at the moment. I turn on my light. I turn on the light that kind of shines on him and wait for the sun to come up. And I have my cup of coffee and I read. And I can usually. I don't think I'm inventing it. I really can feel some peace. I really feel Baba's peace. I can feel Baba's presence. I mean, my heart opens at those times. And I feel then, if I'm talking to Baba or reading something, or if an idea of a poem comes, I can do that in that moment wholeheartedly. But to live that way, to be able to do things wholeheartedly for him, whether it's repeating his name or really leaving things to him, really doing anything wholeheartedly, it's such a mystery to me. I don't, because usually it's the mind just going, well, I don't know, you want to do that, you want to do this, well, I don't know, well, okay, what's my heart say? I don't know, all right, I'll just go, all right, I'll vacuum. Okay, there. All right, that one's done. All right, let's see. You want to eat some lunch? Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to go for my walk. It's my main form of, and it's sort of off the track. But this topic of doing things wholeheartedly for Baba. When that little hint he gave somebody about just before you go to sleep, say to yourself, Baba, I entrust all that I
Mhm.
thought, did, or spoke, good or bad, to you. But do it just 5 minutes, but do it wholeheartedly.
Mhm.
I don't know. I like.
Bob, you have to show up at Margie and Peter's Baba Chat tomorrow night, because that is the subject of the chat.
Oh, is that the subject?
Doing
Okay.
things wholeheartedly for Baba.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'll put that on my calendar. Let's see, that's Thursday, yeah.
Yeah.
Super.
It's beautiful that, when you get together like this, I don't have to ask myself, what should I do?
Yeah, right, exactly. Right.
It's like when I was with Kitty, I would go somewhere with Kitty, like for maybe down to Charleston. I'm just sitting in the car. She is so besieged with so much talking and everything. She would just say, now be quiet. But you just felt, to be with Kitty, you were in the most significant place you could be. Or when you're at Maribod, you don't have to say, well, what should I do? Am I in the right place? You are in the right place, and you're feeling the right thing. And these sessions, especially when we get into our hearts, I don't have to say, well, what should I do between after 10? This
It's,
is the right place to be.
it certainly is, absolutely, yep.
And then you can go and finish your vacuuming later.
Right.
I love it when it's like this, and I'm really clear. I need to go now, but there is no way I'm going to go now.
Yeah,
Because it's so much Baba enrichment. Yeah.
Oh, it really is, and it's a way, it's these times are times when I really can sort of feel natural, as Baba told us to do. Just be natural. It's a comfortable place just to be. I mean, occasionally, something will come out or something. There will be some random thought or some nonsense, but those things don't take over in these gatherings like they do at other times during the day. So, yeah.
yeah. And
Having said that, I'm going to go,
yeah,
because if I don't leave, I'll probably still be here at midnight, and I do.
you
Thanks.
have,
Jai
you
Baba,
have to do
thank you
your
so
writing
much,
tomorrow
Bob.
morning.
Thank you,
Hey,
Jeff.
Baba.
Thank you, everyone. Jai Baba.
Hey, Baba, good night. I'm gonna go too. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this
Thank
was
you so
really-
much, Bob, for
Yeah,
preparing and getting quiet and thinking about what you wanted to say, and then letting Baba speak through you. It was very, very helpful.
Yeah.
It was insightful. We know you better, and I, especially at the end here, I've just taken a lot of notes of things I need to and want to think about. So I know that I'm speaking, and others can speak as well. Don't want to cut anybody off. You're in a different time zone. It's a little later here, but
Right. Right.
but does anybody else want to say anything while Bob's still on?
Mm.
But there's 17 people still on here, and that's amazing to me.
They're
In a
all
good
vacuuming.
yeah. I mean, this is one thing that Baba emphasized, and a lot of people struggle with this. It's you have this inner life with Baba, that's the inner dimension, but you go to work or you out there among your neighbors, that aspect of yourself really can't be shared. It's not seen. I mean, because it's a rare thing. Baba has given us this, but not everybody has the good fortune, of that. And so some people, they, especially before Zoom, they were kind of stuck in Missoula, Montana, say, no other Baba people. And so that side of themselves, the spiritual dimension, needs to be nourished.
Yeah.
Baba said, one of the high roads to surrendering to God is to live in the company of lovers of God and render them wholehearted service. I mean, that was one of the high roads, meaning that it's only natural to want to connect with people that you don't have to give the edited version of yourself all the time. You can
Right.
just be who you are and talk about these things. I think it's just, I mean, from Erich, I mean, I felt that this type of sharing is what will keep Baba from being a religion.
Yes.
He said if his lovers would get together in small groups and share he said, mystical experiences, their inner experiences. It's in so many ways, it's just a beautiful thing. And there's all the nuances,
Yeah.
but it really makes a difference.
It sure does.
Yeah. Even though I have, like, say, neighbors that are friendly and all that kind of stuff, but if I'm with them too long, I start to get tired. I mean, I have to, even though there's a nice exchange of warmth, but there's that other part that's just absent, unfortunately.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. You're absolutely right. And to nourish that in these kinds of groups is so important.
Yeah.
Bob, I appreciate, especially as people ask questions, your ability to stop and think. You didn't just react. You stopped and really thought and shared deep things about yourself. Struggles that you've had, and that's very, very meaningful when people will take stock and really pull out some things that others can relate to.
And it makes it so easy. It makes it so much easier being in a group of people that one has come to trust.
Yes.
Because I think of this because when Jeff talked about neighbors, these are things that I would never talk to my neighbors about. But even though this is Zoom, and as I said, I haven't met most of you in person, a trust gets built through these kinds of sharings, and Baba's love is shared, and trust gets built more. And so so it's easy to it's easier to stop for a moment and think, oh gosh, what does that mean to me? How do I answer that question? And not have to evade anything because it's friendly. There's trust. And with trust, one can be natural. So
Yeah, beautiful.
honest. I mean, it's
Yes. It's an intimacy that is so natural, opening to a natural intimacy.
Right. Yeah. Oh gosh, very good.
Yeah.
Are you worn out?
No, what time is it? Oh, it's only 9:00 here. No, but I know it's 11 where you are. So this has been so enlivening for me. I may not be able to go to, I generally go to sleep pretty early, but this has been just so wonderful.
Are you still in Colorado?
I am. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, it's,
Wow.
wonder if anyone else had a question to ask. Yeah, no,
No, I just wanted to say thank you, Bob. I've been listening to the whole thing. I had to make my bed so that I can eventually get into it. Anyway, thanks. So now my phone's ringing. So okay.
Yep.
Oh, I thought that was mine. It's yours. All right. Hearing aids, they play tricks on me all the time.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I think we've got 3 people from the Seattle area. Right here.
We've
Yeah.
got Vesta on. She
Oh,
joined
it's
at some
Vesta.
point.
Oh, there's Vesta. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, no, it's really refreshing to hear. I mean, this is what the Mandalay, much of what happened in Mandalay Hall was the Mandalay asking how you came to Baba. I mean, because in
Right.
your whole chronology, the whole narration of your life, the brightest portion is your coming to Baba. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
That, and they got to see Baba through that moment when Baba enters our life, you know?
Yeah. 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 It's just, yeah. Well, can I read one more poem?
Definitely.
Oh, yes.
Please,
yes,
please.
Yes. Yes.
Doesn't have a title. It's a sonnet, actually, that I did a couple of days ago when I was going through one of my struggles. Actually, Cinnober plays a part in this one. Well, Cinnober's, the translation of Cinnober's name. I worked hard, earned a PhD in ignorance, and before that won a master's in fear. What now? Where shall I go from here? Mind has nothing, no workable inference. I might as well walk outside in snow, bow down and ask the old pine tree, at least 50 years older than me, what should I do? Where should I go? Enough playing around with thought, enough blindness, enough faking it. I need you and heart open awakening. From no college can that be bought. You say from stone I have come so far, yet not here, but there you are. Oh.
Beautiful. Great.
Baba. Jai Baba. Thank you.
You know, someone
Splendid.
asked Val Kalchuri one time in a meeting place, is there a such thing as a devil? Is there a devil? He said, yes.
Yeah.
And there was like a pause. The mind.
Yeah, which one of Baba's Western lovers, who was at one of this when Baba was at Myrtle Beach? Oh, I can almost remember his name, but not quite. He wrote this song that goes something like, mind, mind, stupid mind.
Right.
Why don't you go and leave me be behind?
Yes.
Now, who did that?
Who did that?
That was Fred Stankus used to
Fred
sing that.
Stankus. Yeah, yeah.
But
Okay.
it might have been a Sufi, one of the Sufis who wrote it for a musical. I don't know.
Okay.
He was he would get up there in Amartithi, all 6'5" frame of him in this kind of warm, huge blue suit and trousers. You know, I mean, so he was like huge up there, and he would just pull the mic up, you know, and then deliver. It was, you know, he was very good about it.
Oh, good.
But huge. He was a large guy because he was not just 6'5", but he was also, you know, a large build guy.
Yeah.
Jeff described earlier that for lovers to share with other lovers and share mystical experiences, and you've made that possible tonight, Bob, by your preparation and the life you've led and the yearn to serve Baba and to remember Baba wholeheartedly. Those things really shine out to me. And Bob, I mean, it was Jeff that was really helpful. Roads, the high road to God. I think that Bob is a good example of somebody who wants the high road for God, and you're just a regular guy, but you want to take that high road.
Just kind of stumbling around. All right, Baba, look, enough, enough distractions, Baba, please, enough detours, please, just whatever I need to do, wherever I need to go, just guide me where you want me to be. Guide me what you want me to do. So, whether I know it or not, and I'm sure I know that those are things that we all try to do in our own way. When Baba talks about every path is absolutely individual. You've got to work out your own stuff, but we can help each other, and we do. So, yeah.
Yeah. We all have many of the same complexes and many of the same breakthroughs. I know. I mean, Erich used to say, we're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
We are really, but we're trying to get out of the way and let Baba live. Whether you're Erich or, or anybody, we're trying to do that.
Yeah.
I once asked Bao Churi, I said that, Baba could, he would like, what do they call it? There were blessings and blastings, and most of what they got were blastings.
Yeah.
And I said, if Baba was that, rough with me, I would find it very hard to maintain my poise and continue to serve him.
Oh, yeah.
And be able to hold my mood when Baba is criticizing, month after month. It just, what was the this is what my question was, what is the attitude that you and the Mandali had to have around Baba to be able to continue serving him even though he is finding fault with you right and left? And this is what he said. Ted Judson was there, and we cracked up. He said, this is the attitude you had to have around Baba. Whether you were right or you were wrong, you were always wrong. And then what he said is that if you were ever really right, you wouldn't be here. The ego can perpetuate itself through being right or being wrong.
Yeah.
So the fact, and Erich used to say, I'm here because I still haven't figured it out.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that's good. That's good.
And some of my path on the human level is being hard on myself and having to, transform that over the many, many decades. And so in the Master's Prayer, what stood out to me and still does when I say it are the two lines, you are all merciful and eternally benevolent.
Yeah.
It so touches my heart because of the healing that I had needed on that human level to be kinder to myself. Yeah.
And just preceding that part in the prayer, it's all knowledge, all knowing, infinitely knowing of the present, the past, what is the past, the present, and the future, and you are knowledge itself. With all this knowledge, he forgives you, he's eternally benevolent. He's all merciful. I always thought that was kind of interesting. He's letting you know everything. He knows everything, and he is forgiving, all merciful.
Still touches my heart, yes.
Yeah. Well.
Bob, who was it that said Parvartigar means the one who was, what is it? The one who cares?
Yeah, the one who, Rick Chapman.
He knows a few things. So it's what it was, Parvartigar, it's the one who cares.
Yeah, Parvartigar, the one who always cares.
That's kind of great. Thank
Yeah.
you. I didn't know that.
And the one, you are Prabhu and Parameshwar, God in form and the formless.
Oh, is that what those are? Thank you.
You are Prabhu and Parameshwar. And then some of those other names that
Yeah.
are beyond our culture.
Yeah, several times, oh, I guess 4 or 5 times I've been part of the late people will do 101 names of God, and that's very meaningful. And Dinku has been reading whether it's Hindi or Gujarati names of God, and then if you just Google 101 names of God, it'll come up. That's the Meher Baba, so it's got both of those, it's got the either a description or two in English, but the words in whatever natural languages they came out. That's so helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that booklet. Yeah.
Well,
Well, I would really like for us to have a little slumber party and not have to say good night, let you go. But I think I'm going to have to let you go.
yeah. See,
Well-
I got to go in a little bit myself.
Well, it's been quite wonderful. And,
Yeah.
Gail, thanks for the reminder about that. I've got to Google that and print those out, those 101 names. That's a great thing to have handy. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you from all of us, Bob. I
Thank
guess
you.
we'll call it a night,
Yeah.
but it's certainly been a night to remember. And your travels with Baba have been lifelong and very inspirational.
Very, yes.
And so wonderful too. And as I said in the beginning, it was so wonderful that Baba had it planned as a surprise tonight, so I didn't have to worry about it. It just
Yes.
happened. So, so Jay, Bob, thank you all so much. It's been a lovely evening.
Okay.
Thank you, one and all. I'm going to stop
Thank
recording
you.
now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Jay, Baba.
Yay.
Well, maybe I'm not going to stop.
Vesta, are you actually there? Or are you sleeping?
No, I'm here.
Ah, one of those people behind the curtain there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not iron, it's sweet, beautiful lace that Mara made for me. So I can get through the next few days. So that's what my curtain's like. I always think that Mara made it. She sat in his room while he was sleeping.
Yeah, wow.
Vesta Hunter came on and did a beautiful Rumi poem, but he also gave us an update.
Yeah. I was so great. I actually called him. I didn't think I was going to make it to Artie. Yeah, I'm okay though. I just after I talk with somebody and I feel grounded and more balanced, it's much easier to accept what's going on when harmony's restored. And I think that's why it was so important. Bob always said harmony. And Monty came up to me one day and she wanted me to sit with her on the bench in the garden. See, another story's coming. I should probably shut up.
No,
It's
don't.
still recording, so actually keep going.
Oh, okay. So we were sitting on the bench and we were just chit-chatting. And there was a squabble amongst some pilgrims. And it was quite intense. And I think almost, I don't know, it doesn't matter. It was just a squabble that had happened. And I said, why is it so hard for people to live in harmony? And I said, I just don't understand it. How can Christians worship the Prince of Peace and just be so nasty and not care about the millions of people that are killed by their bombs? Why does the industrial I just went on and on with stuff. You don't need to know my list. And I said, and we're Baba lovers. We call ourselves lovers. And if we call ourselves Baba lovers, we're reflecting him at all times. That's why I was so careful about chastising that doctor that kind of created some harm for me. And I also explained to Dr. Chalian that, I mean, shit, God, where am I going?
What did
Oh,
Money say to you?
yeah, thank you. Holy mackerel. So she turned to me and she said, you know, harmony is the only thing that we have to give to Baba. That's our gift to him, and it's the only thing that's ours to give. Even the love we have for Baba is his gift to us. He gives it to us to give to him. But harmony, that's for us to give to him. And sometimes it's hard to give what you don't know.
Mm.
And and I said, yes, I said, but then we should change our name from Baba Lovers. And she said, no, 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 honey. She said, because we are Baba Lovers, but even that we fail at, even though that's his gift to us. We tend to trample it at times, or when it gets too hard to hold that, we give in and let our lower energy kind of, she didn't use the word energy. But anyway, she said, always remember that. That's the only thing that's yours. The only thing that's yours that you can give to him is your efforts to promote harmony. And Dr. Chalian was telling me that everybody's blown away, that even when I get angry, I say, no, no, there's a connection there that God is working on to perfect the next time we get into a conflict like this, or a confused state, or, and he says, well, why do you think that? I said, because my master says it and it's true. And he said, Baba talks like that? I mean, Baba, you know, and I said, yes. And if part of the reason I want to write the book is because a lot of his words have come true in my life as I've watched things unfold. And I realize how easy it is to be harmonious because Amani had told me, you need to not be invested in right or wrong, because then you don't form camps that divide and fight each other. And where was I?
Well, you're with Money on the bench.
Okay, got it. And I said to Dr. Chalian, I said, he's got a beautiful book called The Discourses. And you know what I found? Okay, don't let me get off the track. Remind me what I found. And I said, his discourses don't talk about sin. They don't talk about, you know, it's, you've got to do this or this will happen or whatever. But we're informed spiritual aspirants because he's told us what to stay away from, what to enhance in our lives, and what we need to work on. And he's given us all the tools. And so that's why harmony is so important to me, to surround myself with that. And I always tell people, I will never, ever hurt you intentionally. And I will take the blame for things that may not be mine to take the blame for, because that promotes harmony, and you stay away from being ugly and nasty with each other, because you're the only one that gets hurt. It all reflects on you. It's your behavior or your response. And I said, it's been so important to me in the hospital that when there's so many people in their teams treating me. I've got 6 doctors that see me every day, and they're all top of their field. And sometimes communication gets a little broken. And so somebody will come in and say, yeah, this is gonna happen tomorrow. And then somebody will say, all right, well, tonight we're gonna da-da-da-da. And I say, no, that's scheduled for tomorrow. No, that, and then they say, oh, it was. So they come in and tell me what's happening, and they're the doctors, and somebody's already addressed whatever it was. So I said, oh God, where am I, Baba? Well, Jeff, I'm having trouble.
That was just hard and confusing, Vesta, that's all. You're back with, you're talking about harmony, and what you're talking about is a situation with the doctors where they kind of confuse the situation because they're not kind of communicating with each other very well, it sounds like.
Yeah, or they're not communicating with each other and then knowing what the message is to be that day.
Right, and what
But-
the message is for you. Yeah,
But you want to know the good news?
yeah.
All right. The nurse was in here and I had her pull up my lab work. My hemoglobin's been dropping to 6.8, 6.6, which is really low. It's why I was so weak and why I didn't have any strength to fight back, you know, some of my feelings and expressions.
Mhm.
It was 8.6 today.
Yes.
It was 7.2 yesterday. And you know what it is? The
What?
food I've been begging for and haven't. I finally got an orange ice cream that's loaded with protein, but it's also got fiber in it. And so I said, because I've refused ice cream because it melts, and I'm afraid because my fingers don't work that I'll drop it all in my bed. So, anyway, so they got me a thing called Magic Cup. And it's a little tiny cup and it's filled with, if you let it stay frozen, it tastes like ice cream. When it melts, it's like an orange custard because of the not the filler, but like I guess it's a filler, but it's protein filler, pea powder and stuff. So it turns to a custard. So I had 2 of those the last couple of days and I drank a protein drink, but I forced myself and I just got so sick and wretched. Because it leaves the stuff that they have here, even though it's organic, it's chalky, and I don't like that, you know. So it was revulsive. Revulsive is the right word.
Yeah, it's good enough.
Okay. But then when they gave me that, I could feel the difference, like not major, but I could tell I had taken another step up the ladder. And I had one last night. I had one this morning. And I had one at dinner. And so at breakfast time, I know it, breakfast time. Oh, I love an omelet. Oh, so when they did my blood draw tonight at 5:30, it had gone to 8.6.
Wow.
So that's, and Shallian is so sweet. He's told the nurses to listen to me and to move heaven and earth if I need something to get it to me because she knows her body and she's been spot on. In fact, she's helped me with her own diagnosis with her introspection and all these little visions that she has. So, okay. And then what was the thing, Jeffrey?
I think Jeff had to go close the gate. He'll
Oh,
be
okay.
back.
So what was it that I asked him to remind me of? Because it was a sweet story. Okay. It was sweet. Trust me.
I don't know. Oh, geez. I want to know.
I want to know for sure.
Yeah, I do.
I know, but I don't remember what it was. It was after Monty's story.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter. It'll come to me and I can tell it another time.
I know. You sound
it's-
so good, Vesta. I'm so happy to hear you sound so good.
Well, I wanted to come on at the very end just to say Jai Baba, so because I had a wretched day and I've had 2 mental breakdowns, and so I've asked for a psychiatric evaluation. And the psychiatrist came yesterday, and she knew about the ritualistic sexual abuse, the sexual abuse as a child, and the rape, but she said I don't need to. I said I don't need to go into there. I've kind of, you know, it's let go, and it's been let go of. And I said, but I'm aware that the body holds memories and there's cellular memory of things. So what's happened with the fragility that's opened up that little special application that I had as a child where I could tell my parents something was happening and it was happening. It would happen like the next day, like I said, or at the dinner table or whatever. So, just 1 second. So, what were we talking about? Oh, and he said that he told me that there's a mystical side of you and that needs to be honored and not thought of as part of a problem that she's experiencing. I said, well, doctor, it is a problem because what happened to me as a child with that subtlety of, seeing things and, being able to ask somebody if their name was John, named after St. John when their name is George, that kind of stuff. I said, so this pain and this kind of really miserable existence has come about in such a way that I'm so vulnerable and so fragile that what the world did to me after I had those kind of gifts and stuff, it closes it off. So I didn't have anything like that since I was, I don't know, 10, 11, 12, something like that. It just went away. And I thought everybody had it and it was no big deal and I didn't talk about it. So I said, what's happening now is because that innocence is coming back, I think Baba's let me crawl out of the hole. And because that innocence has come back, what I'm now seeing and what's causing so much grief is, although I don't feel emotionally upset about it, it's opened me up. So now my TV in my head, I sit and watch myself be abused, laying on the table, and the guy in the robe, and the not the sphere, but what is it? The whatchamajiggy that he holds with a little bulb on the top of it. And then I see them rolling their hands around me and waltzing around me, and they're chanting and stuff. And it pisses me off that I have to look at it when I've already kind of cleared it out. And she said, well, that's the mystical part that he must be talking about. And he told me that you were having things that you were no longer innocent to deal with, and I was not in control yet of. So I was kind of being victimized by my own inability to put up a boundary. And that makes sense. So that relaxed me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so what's happened is, I told her, I said, what I need from you is I need to be able to take hold of this when it happens. And instead of it controlling me and what I see and stuff, I need to maybe put something in my hands that I can swipe left or swipe right or whatever you do on that application that's in my head. So she's going to come tonight around 11, and we're going to work on that. I'm going to tell her what's happened to me today and that kind of stuff. And then I want her to tell me if she feels it's drug oriented. And I said, I'm not asking you to define what's going on for me because I don't think anybody can right now. It's beyond our pay raise. No, our payroll. No, pay what? Grade.
Pay grade.
Yeah. So I said, so I don't mean to be rude if I tell you, no, that's not it. That's not how I've ever been in my life or I've ever thought like that. And I don't want it to be seen as my enemy because, and then she interrupted me and she said, Shalian told me, you see what you're going through as your master's gift, and that we need to help you keep in balance mentally and emotionally so you can be spiritually focused. And you will never, ever, till your last breath, look at anything that's happened or anybody that you've encountered or any upset or anything like that is never your enemy, because it's his gift that then reveals information to help me heal. And she said, that's such a beautiful way of looking at it. And she said, I'm going to tell my patients, that when they get, because he deals with a lot of anxiety and PTSD. And so she said, what I want to do is I'm going to use those words of Meher Baba's with my patients, because it's so beautiful, because they can think that there's a place that's safe for them and rest. And then if they're spiritual or religious, it can be whatever religious head they have. And she said, I think that will comfort them. At least it's something new for them to encounter. And then she said, but I can't remember what he said about agony and ecstasy. And I said, oh, I was in such agony a while back, blah, 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 that Meher Baba showed me that I have to live, sorry for belching, or I'm not belching, what am I doing?
Hiccuping.
Yeah, hiccuping. That's what my little Christian used to say as a child. He'd
Yes.
get the hiccups and he'd come up and he'd say, Titi, Titi, because that's Tia in Spanish. His mother was Colombian. So he always called me Titi. And he said, Titi, I've got the hiccups. So anyway, I told her, I said, Meher Baba, out of that agony and just begging for mercy came about Baba's showing me that I can't fear, I can't fear,
Agony. Can't feel
Yeah.
the agony.
Yeah, sorry, God, this, that
Okay.
until you learn to not fear agony or crave ecstasy, it's difficult to experience mercy. But once you tell yourself you have nothing to fear, that I'm with you and God is in you and you are within God, when that happens, then you can gently crawl into my hands and rest in the cradle of my mercy. And she said, could you repeat that? And she kept saying to repeat it because she was writing it down. So look how many people are not only hearing Baba's words, but they're going to use them in their own life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just incredible how Baba works.
Mm-hmm. We're watching it through you.
No, we're watching it all together through what's going on in the world.
Well, but he's doing so much work through you, even in me. I'm gonna have to listen to that again, Vesta, because I keep trying to internalize more and more some of the things that you say, because it's true and it applies to all of us. The pain that we've all had and trying to figure out what's going on inside in our inner worlds.
Yeah.
It really helps. It really, really helps on so many levels. You're the sanest person I've ever met.
Oh, you've got to be kidding.
I'm not kidding.
Paula, are you being serious? Or are you kind of making a little joke?
No,
No,
it's
she's
no
not making
joke.
a joke.
I'm not
no.
making a joke. I love you so much.
I love you too. I even love Ralph.
Oh, I know.
We all
Ralph
love Ralph.
too. Yeah. We love Gail.
How's your leg, Vesta? What's happening with your leg and
Okay.
stocking and the clotting and all that?
I'm okay. It's getting better. And I've had the wrap off all day because when wraps get wrinkled and then you wrap tight over it, it feels like something's slicing your skin open. And my skin is still very delicate, like tissue paper from all the chemo and the radiation. So they took the bandage off, but she'll be in here probably around, I think she said 8 o'clock. I have no idea what time it is. To do the wrap, she'll rewrap my leg. But it's still swollen, but it's down another 10%.
Okay.
And they took me off the IV blood thinner, and they're now giving me injections into my abdomen. because the whatever that was, you'd know the word if I said it. It's a blood thinner that everybody uses.
Like
Liquid.
Wolverton or something.
No,
Coumadin.
it's similar. What?
Coumadin.
No,
Oh,
no, it's not. But it's like heparin.
Oh,
So I'm not getting that IV anymore because it's taken me as far as it can go, and my levels under the heparin have leveled.
Oh,
So they're giving me abdominal injections of
yeah.
another chemical, and it's a little stronger to wipe it out completely. So, but I'm okay. My hemoglobin was 8.6.
Mm-hmm.
Is that better?
Oh my God, I was at 6.8. I'm usually at
That's
13.8, 13.9, 13.6.
That's where you want to be, right up there.
Well, that's my usual hemoglobin. I've always been very healthy. My Baba's great. And when it went down to 7, by the time they got me for 2 transfusions, I was at 6.8.
Yeah.
So, and they do think I have an internal bleed somewhere, but as long as it's not forming new clots, and as long as it's not impacting me, I don't know the words, but they feel safe now putting me on this because they won't blow the vein out.
Uh-huh.
Taking the other medicine IV had stopped working, so that told them to take me off it and put on this other medicine. But they have to be careful because now they think my femoral artery is where the clot started from the pressure of the disease. But anyway, this is all medical crap.
Yeah, Baba's got it in his hands.
Yeah.
What sounds like hope to improve it.
Yeah. You're moving right along, right up the ladder, Vesta.
Yeah. Huh. And you know what I did when Chalian told me how happy he was and how pleased I was that I'm willing to go through all this crap again. And I said, the song I sang for my grandparents on their 50th wedding anniversary, way, way out 13 miles south of the Canadian border in the northwest corner of North Dakota. That's where we had a celebration, and there were hundreds of us for their wedding celebration. And he said, what did you sing to them? And I put my head on my bed up and I moved my hands, like a dog swims in the water.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dog paddle.
So I was sitting up and I said, here's the song. Climb, climb up Sunshine Mountain, heaven and earth rejoice. Climb, climb up Sunshine Mountain, all you little girls and boys. So I sang the song to him and he loved it. And he said, you have so much that you pull from. He said, if people are, and I said, it's all there for everybody. And he said, if it's all there for the taking, I mean, if somebody were to take one, their life would be better. And look what you've been given. It's just been poured into you. So, and then I sang, well, and he said, and you give so generously to others. And I said, well, the other song, Why I'm the Way I Am. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here is my handle, here is my spout. So, and he says, how do you come up with this stuff so spontaneously and so quickly? And I said, the other thing that God has done to me is he's made me be silly and smart, and that's a deadly combination. So I've had fun. I mean, go ahead.
You sing much, Vesta? I love your voice.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I'm also
yeah.
a musician and a singer.
No, I love
No,
your
voice. I'm too shy to sing, but the song that Mara had me sing when we went to the Samadhi?
What?
Okay. uh, nearer, my God, to thee, nearer to thee, in the and so I sing that was the song Mara always wanted me to sing to her. And you know, God, I just remembered another thing. I hope somebody's writing. Oh, this is being recorded.
Yep.
Yes,
If somebody could write when you re-listen, write down these little stories, because there's a big story behind it.
Okay.
Anyway, sometimes when she was sick, and I would give her a straw and a cup of hot soup or something, and feed her, she'd say, will you sing your song for me again? And then I'd sing it, and she'd say, will you sing it again?
Mara said that?
Yeah, so I'd sit and sing
Ooh.
that song to her at her bedside. Oh, honey, do you mind one more time? 3 times, and then I think I'll feel better. And I'd sing it again. And then I don't know who found it, but she asked somebody to find the other verses to that song and to write it down. And it was Monty's handwriting. See, and I didn't understand the import of getting these things physically. I probably tossed it or didn't realize the import of that, so that people could see that the mandali relied on things of beauty that were about God.
Mhm.
And they never let it go by when something struck them. And so if somebody would write it down, I'd love to have all the words again so I can sing it to myself with Mara, because I
nearer,
can
my
do
God,
that.
to thee. That's what you want?
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
what?
You
Yeah.
want nearer, my God, to thee? I have access to that. I'll figure out how to send that to
Okay.
you.
And
This is
then
Gail.
the other thing is, if anybody's watching this till the end, and are we still being recorded?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. When you come to this part, when I say things, write it down, because there's a beautiful backstory to it. You know, so that'll be helpful, and I can put it in my book.
Yes, I've texted Angela, and she texted me back that she got it. I said at the end of Bob's story, Vesta's talking, so make sure that this Vesta story gets put with Vesta's things. And she
Okay.
sent back some parts, so she understands that all of this is
Okay. Okay. So, all right. Is everybody ready to say Jai Baba?
Well, we can say that, but
Oh.
does that mean we have to say goodbye for
Oh no,
tonight?
I thought I was interrupting your
No, we're riveted to you, to what you're doing. Bob is
I love you
gone.
guys. You guys are crazier than I am. Oh, she's special. Oh, she's this. We're riveted. That's so cute. My mom would laugh and tell you she could tell stories that would curl your hair.
Well, we know that's true too.
Oh, that's too funny. Oh, Betty's on. Hi, Betty. Is Betty there?
I don't know. She's
Okay.
Betty is probably stepped away and feeding
Oh, Dave.
but
Okay.
yeah, it's her computer that's
Oh,
recording. So
okay, got it. It's the power station.
yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. And she's got it plugged into Meher Baba.
She does. So we don't get the backstory tonight, the beautiful
No,
backstory.
I've had such a horrible day and a mental breakdown.
I
mean,
heard something about it. You
What?
left me yeah, I heard something about it. Bradley called me.
Oh, what did Bradley say? Did he tell you
Well-
I was a naughty girl?
Oh yeah. He said you just raised a ruckus.
I did. I did. Okay.
No, he
So,
told me all about it. But you
okay.
left me a message too on my phone. So yeah, I knew. I was sorry I wasn't here. I was having lunch with Twinkle Star.
Oh, good. How's Twinkle Toes?
She's fine. She's doing really good.
Did you give her the card?
I did.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's great. Thank you.
she doesn't
Thank you.
realize that what she got connected in with. She says,
Good.
well, I'm with you. And it's like, well, if you're with me, you're you have no idea. It might show up in the next life or two, but
Yeah. Uh-huh.
you're on your way, baby.
Yeah, seriously.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. Well,
You
I'm
sound,
kind of, go ahead.
did you sleep today?
No.
You were trying to, sometimes I felt kind of bad because I would text you and send you things. Turn off your phone so it doesn't ding and wake you up.
I do. I do.
Oh, good. Okay, because I don't want to interrupt.
I do it when I don't want to be awakened.
Yeah.
But the goal is to be awakened, isn't it?
Yeah, but maybe first you got to go to sleep, then to get to be awakened.
Yeah, but when I want to be asleep and need to doze off and know I will, I turn my phone off.
That's good. Good girl.
So-
I'm glad.
Good Vessie. Good
Yes.
Vessie. What a good girl.
Good job. Yep.
What does Vesta mean? What does the name Vesta mean?
Okay, it comes from Norwegian mythology.
Mhm.
There was this woman who was like Joan of Arc, and she just dedicated herself to saving and protecting animals and children. So she was, am I in trouble? You're gonna give me my Dilaudid?
I brought you your antibiotic
Okay,
and the Valium and Lovenox.
okay, and then if you give me I know I'm due for the Dilaudid because I held off till Chalian left.
Would you rather take the Dilaudid or the Valium?
I'll take the Valium a little bit later because the psychiatrist is gonna come shrink me in around 11.
Okay, you want to take the Valium more?
When she comes.
Okay, no problem.
Sorry.
Oh, that was
Okay.
funny. She's gonna come shrink you?
Well, I meant what does that mean? What the hell does that mean? Where did that
That's
come from?
It means, well, you know where it came from? People call psychiatrists shrinks.
Oh, well, then I made sense. Otherwise,
Yeah, you made sense. You made sense.
You
well,
made total sense. You've been making
Okay.
complete sense tonight. I mean, not
Okay.
that you're not other nights, but all of your thoughts are sequential and you're making extremely important points. And so I'm glad it's being recorded, and I'm making some notes too.
Okay. Thank you. I don't mean to, well, never mind. I don't need to apologize for that. You offered to do it.
That's right. We're happy. I'm not
Okay.
taking notes because I'm a bad note taker, but I'll get notes from Gail.
That's funny. Okay. Well, I think you guys can stay on, but
I think you're ready to sign off, aren't you?
Let
You're-
Paula sing you a nice song, Vesta. She is she's been singing some beautiful. We didn't know Paula had such a beautiful voice.
she does.
Would you
and
care to
she's-
sing, would you be able to sing us a song, Paula?
Well, I think Vesta is ready
Well-
to sign off.
Yeah, but she's got to hang a new IV and put grease in it. Not grease.
Fluid.
I hope not.
Fluid in it.
Yeah, motor oil, not motor oil.
Axle grease.
Antibiotics. So I've got enough time. She's going to get the narcotic. That's a big deal. She's hanging the IVs, and she's got to give me my abdominal shot and my other pills. So I'd love to hear Paula sing, but not before I tell everybody how much I love you. And I depend on you and I need you, and how good you are to me means so much. It means so much to me. I feel so blessed.
Well, we do
We
too.
do, Vesta. Lots and lots.
You're always in our thoughts and the heart. I'm
Is that
scared.
Dinku? Is that
Yep.
Dinku talking? Oh,
Yes, it's me.
Dinku. Oh, good. All right, who's crushing ice to pour a martini over and serve me straight up? I hear it in the background.
Oh, Barbara, I'm sorry.
No,
There's
that's
me-
okay, honey. I
there's
knew it was
me
you.
Making chai. I'm stirring my milk.
No, that's okay. But I just want to tell everybody how much I love you. I just love you so much. You've all these stories that you think are nice to hear. You've allowed me to relive them. In fact, you've almost demanded it. And so I feel it's a duty. And that keeps me holding on longer.
Mm-hmm. They're jewels. They're just jewels. They're precious.
So
I've
yeah.
got Sanober's hairdo tonight.
Okay, well, Jay Baba,
We love
I
you
love
too.
you. But
You
Paula,
We
you're
love
gonna,
you, Vesta.
Paula, you're gonna sing, right?
I hadn't planned on it.
No, please.
Let her get us a, let her think
can
on it
sing.
a second and drum up a song and get herself her pump primed and her bearings greased.
No,
So
it's
how long will that take? How long will it take you, Paula?
1 second.
But I need everybody
1
to
second.
mute. Everybody but Paula mute. I can't take all
We're
the noise.
hanging for you, Paula. We're just.
Okay, Ralph, stop.
Everybody has to mute except me.
Yeah, please.
Okay. I'll try to remember all the words, but anyway. I will never leave you. On this you can depend. I'll be always with you in ways you cannot comprehend. Let not your heart be troubled by the things that pass your eyes. The world is made of shadows that your mind learned to disguise. I will always love you in darkness and in light. We'll always be together. You'll never ever leave my side. Let not your soul be weary by this constant veil of tears. You know I'll be there waiting when the clouds all disappear. I will always love you. I will never leave you. I will always love you. I will always love you.
Thank you,
Jamie.
sweetheart. Thank you. Thank you. That's my lullaby for tonight. That'll put me in a good place to see the shrink.
Jane Mayer, Baba's sweetheart.
And thank you all for helping me get back on track to where my sentences aren't being so broken up and I don't lose my train of thought, because that'll help me and not frustrate the psychiatrist who did. Anyway, Jay Baba.
Jay Baba, sweetie.
I love you, Gail. I
Loves
love all
and
of
kisses.
you. Thank you, Ralphie. You go
Welcome,
let
thank
those chickens,
you.
you go let those chickens out when the sun comes
Alrighty.
up.
Yeah.
All right, Jay Baba.
Thank
Jay
you,
Baba.
Jay Bob.
Jay Baba, everyone.
Avatar Mayor Baba Ki Jai. Avatar Mayor Baba Ki Jai. Avatar Mayor Baba Ki Jai. Good night, Baba sweeties.
Nighty
Sign
night.
off.
Jay Bob.
Jay Baba. the recording stopped?
Did you say something, Dinku? I'm still here just by virtue of not being that close to the phone.
Okay, no, I was just wondering, has the recording stopped?
So it looks like the recording's still going. I'm not sure who the host is at this point.
Okay, I think Betty was the host. Yeah, Betty.
Betty? Oh,
Yeah.
she must
Yeah.
be having dinner. She's probably
Yeah.
serving supper at the
Anyway,
moment. Did you want to do 101? Dinku?
sorry, no, not now, Ralph. It's a little late, but
Fine.
we can do it
Okay.
tomorrow or whenever.
Splendid. Lovely.
Okay.
All
Yeah,
right.
always ready to do it.
All
Put
righty.
a little
I'm-
on, please.
You've been having a party in here, haven't you?
Oh, here she is, Betty. Yeah.
I'll go turn it off. Yeah.
Betty?
Yes, I can end it. Oh, I should
Yeah.
stop recording.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
okay. Good night.
Good night. Jay Bob.
Betty, I just wanted to ask you one thing.
Yeah.
You know, we all loved Jeff and Buzz singing all those lovely songs. I wonder if we could have one session where the two of them sing all their songs and it's recorded.
Yeah, why don't we like
If,
do
if it's okay with them, you know, like after arti.
after?
If
Okay.
if they're okay with it.
Oh, okay. You want it at that time? Is that what you're saying? Because what about
Just normal time?
concerts don't work for you, right? The timing. Okay. Yeah, why not? Let's ask them. Yeah.
And if they don't mind it being recorded, so then, you know, we can always fall back on it and listen to them.
Okay. Okay, I'll ask Jeff and Buzz and Angela, right? It's Jeff and Buzz.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
even Angela, fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
Buzz's Dunes and all the other songs that Jeff sings, you know, they're really beautiful.
Okay. Okay. It sounded like everybody was having one. I was having a real nice time with my family, so I just listened to you. It sounded like everybody was having fun. Good. All right.
It was
Hey,
lovely,
Bob.
Artie. Thank you. Good night, Jay Baba.
Good night.